In the year 1789, the global economy ran on a single island in the Caribbean. It was called Saint-Domingue, a tiny territory occupying the western third of Hispaniola. To the court of King Louis XVI in Paris, it was known simply as the Pearl of the Antilles. To the rest of the world, it was the wealthiest colony on the face of the earth. Saint-Domingue produced over 40% of all the sugar and 60% of all the coffee consumed across the entire Western world. Its exports generated more wealth for France than all 13 American colonies generated for Great Britain combined. Ships stacked with gold coins constantly made the voyage across the Atlantic, funding the grand chateau and lavish lifestyles of the French aristocracy.
I trust this is satisfactory.
Yes, the sum is correct, Your Grace.
Ça. Excellente. Les livres sont équilibrés.
Nous avons les fonds nécessaires pour le château.
But beneath this unimaginable wealth lay an engine of absolute, calculated horror. To power this massive agricultural machine, the French colonial regime forced over 500,000 African human beings into chattel slavery. They were subjected to working conditions so horrifyingly brutal that the average lifespan of an enslaved field laborer arriving on the island was less than 5 years. The system was not designed for long-term labor survival. It was designed for immediate extraction. Plantation masters calculated that it was cheaper to work enslaved people to death and import fresh captives from West Africa than it was to keep existing workers alive. The European empires believed this system was permanent. They believed the enslaved population was too fractured, too traumatized, and too heavily monitored to ever organize. They were catastrophically wrong. Over 13 impossible years, those same enslaved laborers would pick up arms, unite across dozens of cultural groups, and systematically defeat 3 global superpowers: Spain, Great Britain, and the unstoppable armies of Napoleon Bonaparte. This is the story of the Haitian Revolution, the only successful slave revolt in human history and the birth of the world's first independent Black republic. By 1789, the political world was shaking. Across the ocean, the French Revolution broke out in Paris.
Égalité, fraternité, aux armes citoyens, marchez, marchez, aux armes citoyens, vive la France, à l'assaut, liberté.
The French monarchy was shattered, and the National Assembly proclaimed the historic Declaration of the Rights of Man.
Citoyens, l'égalité est notre droit. Liberté, égalité, c'est impossible. Vive la République!
Men are born and remain free and equal in rights. In Saint-Domingue, the white colonial elite tried desperately to suppress this news. They wanted liberty for themselves to trade freely, but had zero intention of extending basic humanity to the Black majority. But ideas of freedom are impossible to quarantine. Word of the revolution in Paris spread like wildfire along the communication networks built by enslaved coachmen, domestic workers, and maroons, escaped slaves living in the island's mountainous interior. By August 1791, the breaking point had arrived. On the night of August 14th, 1791, key conspirators from over 100 northern plantations met in a secluded forested swamp known as Bois Cayman.
Path to freedom. It lies through the mud and the dark. Now is the time to rise.
Yes, we are with you.
The gathering was led by Dutty Boukman, a towering Jamaican-born Maroon leader and Vodou priest, Hungan, alongside Cécile Fatiman, a prominent priestess, Mambo. This was not merely a political meeting, it was a spiritual pledge of complete resistance. Vodou, a rich synthesis of West African traditions from Dahomey, Congo, and Yoruba cultures, served as the ultimate unifying language.
Oh Lord, we seek your light. Guide us now.
It provided a shared moral universe for people who had been stripped of their homelands, languages, and families. Under torrential rain, Boukman stepped into the center of the clearing and delivered a speech recorded by history.
We rise! The God who created the sun that gives us light, who rouses the waves and rules the storm, listens to us in the shadow of this cloud.
The God who created the sun that gives us light, who rouses the waves and rules the storm, listens to us in the shadow of this cloud. The God of the white man calls for crime, but our God demands good deeds. Throw away the image of their God who requires your tears. Listen to the voice of liberty that speaks in all our hearts. 8 days later, on the night of August 22nd, the northern plain erupted into flame. Enslaved workers across hundreds of sugar estates rose up simultaneously. Armed with machetes, torches, and captured farm tools, they dismantled the infrastructure of plantation slavery in a matter of hours. Sugar mills burned, refineries collapsed, and the plantation owners fled in absolute panic toward the heavily fortified coastal cities. The colonial regime believed it was facing a momentary riot that could be put down with standard brutality. They did not realize they were witnessing the opening salvo of a full-scale revolutionary war. A massive uprising is one thing. Winning a war against European empires is another. To survive, the revolution needed a strategic mind capable of outthinking the military establishments of Europe. That mind belonged to a man in his late 40s, François-Dominique Toussaint Louverture. Toussaint was born into slavery at the Breda plantation near Le Cap.
The situation is precarious. We must move now. Prepare the troops. Yes, sir. The position must be secured before nightfall. Yes, General. Instruct the cavalry to flank from the east.
Intelligent and deeply observant, he had been granted his freedom years before the revolution. He was literate, skilled in herbal medicine, and spent years studying military history and political philosophy, including the works of the French philosopher Abbé Raynal, who had famously predicted that the Caribbean would one day produce a black Spartacus to avenge the crimes of slavery. When the 1791 revolt broke out, Toussaint did not join immediately as a field combatant. Instead, he served as a medical officer, ensuring his family was safe before committing fully to the cause.
I must join the others now.
When he did join, he immediately saw that chaotic guerrilla tactics alone would not hold off European armies. Toussaint took thousands of untrained former field hands and disciplined them into a formal, highly effective military force.
You are an army. Discipline will hold off Europe. Discipline is not merely an action. It is a way of life and the only path to our liberty.
Yes, General!
Forward march. Discipline.
He taught them conventional European infantry drills while combining those tactics with devastating Caribbean guerrilla warfare.
For freedom!
By the left, quick march! Fix bayonets! Now move! Move! Charge! Forwards! Hold the line! Now, break formation! Into the trees! That is how we fight! Be the storm!
What followed between 1793 and 1798 was a masterclass in high-stakes geopolitical maneuvering, a period known as the War of the Three Empires. Seeing France weakened by its own revolution, both Great Britain and Spain invaded Saint-Domingue, eager to seize the wealthy colony for themselves. Toussaint realized he could use European imperial rivalries to his advantage. First, Toussaint aligned with the Spanish. The Spanish offered arms, ammunition, and military ranks.
I agree to your terms. Then the alliance is set. And now, we prepare.
Toussaint accepted, using Spanish military supply chains to equip his growing black army. Second, he forced France's hand.
Monsieur, the decree demands our action immediately. It is not so simple. We must consider the repercussions. He is right. This document changes everything.
Realizing they were losing control of the colony to both Toussaint and invading British fleets, the French civil commissioners made a desperate move.
La République française abolit l'esclavage. Nous confirmons l'abolition avec acclamation.
In 1793, they declared slavery abolished in Saint-Domingue. In February 1794, the National Convention in Paris officially ratified this, making France the first major European power to abolish colonial slavery. Third, Toussaint switched sides back to France.
Pour la France, pour la liberté de l'homme noir. En avant! Chargez!
Now that France officially stood for universal emancipation, Toussaint turned his guns on his former Spanish allies, driving them out of the Western territory.
En avant! Chargez! Prenez la muraille! Retirez-vous!
Ils sont dedans!
Vive la liberté! Victoire! To the walls! Drive them out! Push forward!
Next came the British. Great Britain launched a massive expeditionary force to re-enslave Saint-Domingue. Landing thousands of elite redcoats on the coast. Toussaint engaged the British in a grueling 4-year campaign. He used the geography of the island as a weapon.
Fire! Push up the path, men! Remember why we fight.
Drawing British armies deep into the mountainous interior where their heavy uniforms and rigid battle lines were useless, leaving them exposed to tropical heat and yellow fever.
Keep him moving! Don't stop! I can't! He's gone! We're finished! Move out!
By 1798, the British Army had suffered over 40,000 casualties. Beaten and exhausted, the British commanders signed a secret treaty with Toussaint. Withdrawing their forces entirely. By 1801, Toussaint Louverture had accomplished the unthinkable. He had driven out the Spanish, defeated the British, and taken control of the entire island of Hispaniola. He drafted a new constitution, named himself Governor-General for life.
Henceforth, slavery is abolished forever. We are free, now and always. The time has come. Today, we declare our freedom. We are free.
Freedom!
And declared that slavery
Long
was
live the
forever
Governor-General.
abolished on the island. In Paris, a new dictator had taken absolute control of France. First Consul Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon viewed Toussaint's rising black state not as a triumph of French revolutionary values, but as an intolerable insult to French imperial authority.
The news from Saint-Domingue is an insult. Indeed, Your Excellency. We must respond with force. Prepare the orders.
Furthermore, Napoleon had grand vision. He wanted to rebuild a vast French empire in the Western Hemisphere, anchored by the sugar wealth of Saint-Domingue and supplied by the agricultural lands of the Louisiana Territory in North America. To execute this plan, Napoleon needed to destroy Toussaint Louverture and re-establish chattel slavery. In early 1802, Napoleon dispatched the largest amphibious invasion force
General,
France had ever
we must
assembled.
restore order in Saint-Domingue. Use whatever means necessary. These orders are absolute.
Over 20,000 veteran troops aboard more than 50 warships, commanded by his own brother-in-law, General Charles Leclerc.
Leclerc, this force is the largest assembled. The future of France depends on this. You have your orders. Execute them swiftly.
Leclerc carried secret, explicit orders from Napoleon, disarm the black population, arrest Toussaint's generals, and restore the plantation system. When the massive French fleet appeared off the coast of Cap Français, Toussaint knew his forces could not match the sheer artillery firepower of the French Navy in open coastal warfare.
Their artillery is too powerful. We cannot engage them directly. We understand, General.
He issued a clear command to his top commanders, including his fiercest general, Jean-Jacques Dessalines.
Leave nothing behind you. Burn the cities, destroy the roads, block the wells, leave the enemy with nothing but heat and ruin.
Retirez-vous! Allez dans les montagnes! Laissez-les brûler! Nous frapperons de l'intérieur!
As the French troops landed, they found the great port cities of Saint-Domingue transformed into towering infernos. The revolutionaries retreated into the rugged interior, initiating a campaign of intense guerrilla resistance. For months, the war raged across mountain passes and fortified interior strongholds. But the strain of continuous combat took a heavy toll. Facing internal divisions and desertions among his officers, Toussaint agreed to negotiate a peace
The
treaty
terms are
with General
acceptable,
Leclerc
General.
in May 1802.
I believe this secures peace for both our nations, President.
I agree. It is done. Finally.
Under the agreement that his army would be integrated into the colonial military and slavery would remain strictly illegal. It was a deadly trap.
You call this an agreement?
Yeah?
Take him. Not without a fight. I expected as much.
1 month later, Toussaint was lured to a fake diplomatic meeting under a flag of truce. He was ambushed, placed in heavy irons, and dragged onto a French warship bound for Europe. As Toussaint Louverture was led away in chains, he turned to his captors and uttered a famous prophetic warning.
In overthrowing me, you have cut down only the trunk of the tree of liberty in Saint-Domingue. Hurry!
It will spring up again from the roots, for they are numerous and deep. Toussaint was transported to France and locked in Fort de Joux, a freezing stone fortress high in the Jura Mountains near the Swiss border. Isolated, deprived of medical care, and subjected to harsh winter conditions, the leader of the revolution passed away in his cell on April 7, 1803. Napoleon believed he had severed the head of the revolution. He had no idea he had just unleashed its most radical phase. Napoleon's triumph was brief. Summer 1803 brought terrifying news to Saint-Domingue.
Regardez le panneau. Nous sommes libres.
France had officially reinstated slavery in the nearby French colony of Guadeloupe. The black population of Saint-Domingue realized the truth.
France had never intended to respect our freedom. This was no longer a war over political administration. It was a war for absolute human survival.
France had never intended to respect their freedom. This was no longer a war over political administration. It was a war for absolute human survival. Command of the revolutionary forces fell to Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Where Toussaint had been a diplomat and strategist who sought reconciliation with Europe, Dessalines was an uncompromising revolutionary who had felt the whip of slavery on his own back. He recognized that as long as France retained a foothold on the island, freedom would always be under threat. Dessalines adopted a stark, unyielding strategy for total victory.
Cut off heads,
Coup d'état,
burn down
bouquet,
houses.
cut off heads, burn down houses. General Leclerc's French army was rapidly disintegrating. Yellow fever swept through the European ranks, killing thousands of soldiers every week, including Leclerc himself. His replacement, the Viscount de Rochambeau, launched a reign of terror, executing prisoners and unleashing bloodhounds.
Soldats, feu! Lâchez les chiens! Unleash the hounds! Find them!
Faster! They are close behind us.
In response, Dessalines united the black and mixed-race forces across the island into a single revolutionary army. L'Armée Indigène, the indigenous army. The conflict reached its ultimate climax on November 18, 1803, at the Battle of Vertières. The French army made its final stand at Fort Vertières, heavily fortified with high stone walls and heavy artillery. Under torrential rain and endless artillery fire, Revolutionary General François Capua, known as Capua la Mort, Capua the Death, led the frontline charge up the exposed hill. During the assault, a French cannonball shattered Capua's horse beneath him. Capua tumbled into the dirt, picked himself up, drew his saber, and continued sprinting uphill into heavy grapeshot, shouting to his troops, "Forward! Forward!" The sheer bravery of the charge stunned even the French commanders, who briefly ordered a pause in firing to applaud his heroism. But the momentum was unstoppable.
We have them on the run! Forward, men! For liberty!
The revolutionary forces overwhelmed the outer works of the fort. The French army was broken. The next morning, Rochambeau signed terms of surrender, agreeing to evacuate all remaining French forces from the island within 14 days.
Citizens, it is not enough to have expelled the barbarians who have decimated us. We must secure the Empire of Liberty. Napoleon's Grand Empire in the Americas was dead.
On January 1, 1804, in the
1804,
city of Gonaives, Jean-Jacques Dessalines read the Haitian Declaration of Independence. In a symbolic act of absolute break from colonial rule, Dessalines took the French tricolor flag and tore out the white center stripe, leaving only the red and blue to represent the union of the island's black and mixed-race citizens. He renamed the country Haiti, restoring the original Taino name for the land, Haiti, meaning land of high mountains. Haiti was free. It had become the first independent black republic in world history and the second independent nation in the Western Hemisphere after the United States. The triumph of the Haitian Revolution completely reshaped the modern world. It triggered the Louisiana Purchase.
let us swear to the whole
Devastated
world,
by the loss of
to
his most
posterity,
profitable colony,
to ourselves,
Napoleon
to
abandoned
renounce
his ambitions
France
in the Western
forever.
Hemisphere.
We hereby cede the Louisiana Territory to the United States.
A momentous day, General. We accept this transfer with gratitude.
In 1803, he sold the vast Louisiana Territory to the United States for $15 million. Doubling the physical size of the U.S. overnight, it terrified imperial regimes. Slaveholding nations, including the United States, Great Britain, Spain, and Brazil, were paralyzed by the Haitian example. In response, they placed brutal diplomatic and economic blockades on Haiti, forcing the young nation into financial isolation to prevent the spread of revolution. It redefined human liberty. While the American and French revolutions fought over taxes and representation while continuing to permit chattel slavery, Haiti stood alone. It was the only revolution that fought for universal, unconditional emancipation for all human beings regardless of race. The story of Haiti is not a story of passive freedom granted by empires. It is the story of a people who took their freedom by force, proving that the desire for liberty is universal, unstoppable, and eternal.
Libre! We shall not yield! Attack! Freedom!